Welcome back. We are talking about the African empires as well as Trans-Saharan trade. All right, so taking a quick look, routes across the Sahara. This was made possible by the camel saddle, as well as caravan cities, also known as caravanserais. So take a look at all the major cities made possible by these two pieces of technology. And though we may not think of caravans and caravanserais as technology, it is. It's that idea of protection. It's also building, essentially trading cities where you have oases. Trade across the Sahara developed very slowly. You have two local trading systems, one in the southern Sahara and one in the north, that were linked. Traders in the southern Sahara had access to desert salt deposits, and they exported salt to the sub-Saharan regions in return for cola nuts and palm oil. Traders in the northern area exported agricultural products to Italy. So again, you can see here, your oases, that's where you're going to see a lot of your caravan cities coming up. All right, so we're going to get into the Kingdom of Ghana. The Saharan trading kingdoms began as small settlements where the trade routes met. And the Kingdom of Ghana followed a very similar path. They're south of the Sahara, and they were founded by the Soninke people. The trading activities that constituted the backbone of their economy were the sale of gold, cola nuts, and ivory to cities along the Mediterranean in exchange for salt. But as Ghana grew richer and they expanded their territorial base, tensions with various tribes of Berber merchants grew as well. Ghana conquered the most important city-state in the 11th century, and this is the height of their glory. They would not recover from the battle it took to get this city-state under their control. And what we'll see happening are decades of decline as subject people broke apart and tried to form smaller independent kingdoms. In 1240 CE, the kingdom collapsed when the city of Kumbai was attacked and the heart of Ghana was annexed by the rising empire of Mali. This kingdom was located in West Africa, centered on the Niger River basin. The rulers of Mali converted to Islam around 1000. Malian society was matrilineal, and descent and inheritance were determined by women. So what we know is that Sundiata was the founder of the Mali kingdom, again around 1230, 1240. And according to the epic of Sundiata, states were formed by conquest of humans or supernatural forces. So Sundiata was the Muslim leader of the Malinke people. Mali's economy rested on agriculture and was supplemented by control of regional and trans-Saharan trading routes, as well as control of the gold mines. And that's what their empire is going to be known for, is its massive amount of gold. The historian Ibn Khaldun recorded the names of Malian kings and the major events that happened. We also know that the army of Mali had different armies with local leaders. And this is what they would do, is as they would expand, they incorporated conquered people into positions of semi-power, if you will. Mansa Musa went on a pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324 through Cairo. And what you have to know is that on this pilgrimage, he pretty much single-handedly decimated the economy for 10 years because he handed out so much gold. Like, we're talking about 50,000 people who were, like, their only purpose on this pilgrimage was to carry the gold. In addition to trading goods of gold, slaves were the second most important trading good. People of Mali captured slaves in the forest belt to the south, and these were also conquered people that would be sold into slavery. Battuta, we're going to talk a bit more about him later on, but when he's in Mali, he's a very important scholar, traveler, and lawyer. And this is where the concept of Dar es Salaam comes in. While he's in Mali, he sees a lot of cultural differences, specifically men and women who are not related being friends, and then women not veiling or being secluded. And he really objected to this. The kings of Mali faced quite a bit of warfare after 1400. Because of this, they began importing horses as well as armor, but the kingdom declined and then collapsed in the mid to late 15th century. And again, the concept of Dar es Salaam. So what we're looking at is the extent of the Islamic world in 850, and then Islamic areas reconquered by Christian kingdoms. And you can really see how far Islam's influence has spread by 1500. What you see in red is Battuta's travel routes. Sorry, my dogs are barking. It's a little distracting. Just ignore them. And this is where he's traveling and attempting to visit every major Islamic kingdom or empire or city-state. Along the East African coast, we are going to be looking at the rise of major Swahili city-states, as well as the Swahili language. By 1500, there were 30 or 40 separate city-states along the East African coast that were participating in the Indian Ocean trade. And these people in these cities were the Swahili people. They spoke an African dialect that was not only local dialects, but also Arabic and Persian to make this new family of languages. The cities included Kilwa, and they were famous as exporters of gold that were mined in or around the capital city of Great Zimbabwe. So Kilwa has a number of amazing architectural examples to be looked at. There's the Great Mosque, and at the time that it was built, it was actually the largest mosque in East Africa. It had dome chambers, monolithic pillars, water tanks, and also slabs for prayers. There's also walled buildings that were designed to keep the leader of the city-state safe from attack. Great Zimbabwe's economy rested on agriculture, cattle herding, and trade. The city would decline due to an ecological crisis brought on by both deforestation as well as overgrading. Great Zimbabwe is now a ruined city, and you can see these ruins have actually been designated a World Heritage Site since 1986. But what we also know about Great Zimbabwe is that they collapsed due to overmining of gold. Sorry, guys, had to go shush the dogs. All right. So, looking at Dar es Salaam as a world system. Battuta, we looked at him. Battuta was a young Muslim scholar and lawyer originally from Morocco. And the pilgrimage to Mecca that he went on, also called the Hajj, turned into a 29-year, 75,000-mile trip. And he toured trading cities of the Red Sea and East Africa, as well as Central Asia and India, China, Southeast Asia. He traveled to Islamic Spain, and then the Sub-Saharan in West Africa. Overland and maritime trade routes made this possible, but it's also going to spread beliefs and technology as well as goods. And when he reaches Mali, as I said before, he's very taken aback by the cultural differences, and he doesn't handle it as well as he potentially could have. And he writes about what he experienced in Mali and how he was horrified that men and women could be friends, that women didn't veil, and he looked at it as a very barbaric custom. The Mamluk Empire. So we talked about the Mamluks in our first unit. Located in Alexandria, Egypt, is the westernmost point of the Mamluk Empire. At first, they served in high positions under the Abbasids. That would not last forever because eventually they're going to revolt. Mamluks were actually Turkish slave soldiers employed first by the Abbasids, but when the Abbasids hit financial constraints, if you will, the Mamluks rebelled. And what's going to happen is they're going to form their own dynasty. So in Cairo, which was Baghdad's successor, and if you guys remember, Baghdad was the intellectual capital of the world under the Abbasids. Well, Cairo will become that cultural capital of the Islamic world. The Mamluks established their own caliphate in 1261, again, located in Cairo. By the 14th century, the city had a population of close to 600,000 people, and their population was divided into very distinct social groups. What's going to happen, though, is the Ottoman-Mamluk War will lead to the downfall of this caliphate, and they'll be incorporated into the Ottoman Empire. All right, we're going to stop there for today. This is our second of 3 in this series. We're going to pick up with our last podcast on the Mongols and the rise of their empire. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. Cheers, y'all.